Wait, hold on a second. You're
So
telling me that a pianist who can play Rachmaninoff, Liszt, Schumann, they struggle with harmonizing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star?
Well, not only harmonizing, some of them even struggle finding right away the right keys to play the melody.
You're kidding me.
That was
Wow.
really a shocking moment for me, and it not only happened once.
Wait a
It
second.
happened several times. Yeah, but it means that people
How can you
are
play
so trained.
how can you play Liszt and not be able to play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star? I don't get it.
Yeah, well, I had the same feeling, and it means that teaching nowadays for a lot of people is so much focused on technique and score reading that if they have a score in front of them, there is no filter in between. Sometimes I even think the brain is not active at all. They just look at the notes, their fingers start moving, and they can do anything. But then when the score is gone, then sometimes they're really looking like these black and white things. what do I need to do with it? I have no idea. And for me, it was really shocking. And of course, most pianists can do something, but there are really some pianists that
it's a real phenomenon.
Really bad at my subject. But like I said, it could also
it's a very real
well
phenomenon.
Yeah, and also the opposite, that someone who plays trumpet or violin or a percussionist are really good at the piano, actually. Not necessarily technically, but I really don't care that much. They don't have to have a perfect touch or something, or very virtuose. But if they understand music and they can just make little pieces by ear and by understanding, that's my
it's
my
not
goal.
a stretch. I know, and I'll say drummers especially are the ones who surprise me the most, and not generally, because for some reason drummers, they have a good idea of form. They have a good idea of like when the song is changing chords. They know when to transition. They're very musical. The drummers tend to be. So I mean, that just goes to show, drummers. We can't underestimate them.
I totally agree. I have the same experience, and especially because, there's always a certain point that you start discussing with the students, like, okay, how come does this sound like a piece of literature? And when you just glue some chords together, it sounds like improvisation, but not a good improvisation.
Right.
And then they realize, okay, there's some counting going on. If you want to make a Baroque improvisation, of course, you need to have clear sentences like 4 bars and again 4 bars in a different key, or going to the dominant or to the subdominant.
Right.
And for most students, that's really difficult because they already need a lot of brain power to find the right chords. And now you have to count along as well.
Right.
And for drummers, of course, that's the easy part. They have this kind of internal clock that goes on all the time, so they can make sentences of 4 bars perfectly. And that's actually a big part of improvisation, I think, that you can count along and that you can also think ahead for a long period, that you already know, okay, I've had my 8 bars now, so I make sure that in another 8 bars I have my final cadence or something. So that's an important part of it. I always call it a chess game, that you can think ahead in a certain amount of bars, that you know when something important needs to happen, musically speaking.